Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS Challengers. I'm Mazel, joined by Magical and Joshi. We're rounding out the day here with our final series of the day. The final series of week number 2.
Ooh.
Magical, Joshi, you hanging in there? Y'all doing okay?
Oh, I'm fine. You act like I can't just keep up energy all the time.
All the time.
Literally all the time.
I mean, the drawings in the back are starting to take a hit. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's too much blood in Magical's caffeine system, and that's when, we start getting a little bit worried, so.
True. That's when the mad comes out of the Magical. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we've gone through today, as we have had our 2 prior best of 2 series go 1-1 apiece. We'll bring up the schedule graphic here. So it was a 1-1 in our first series between Golden Guardians Challengers and AoE Gold. Immortals, Progressive Challengers came out with a strong game 1, but Fear with the comeback in game number 2. And then now, as we say, got Cloud9 Challengers versus Fly Fam, and it should be a lot of fun, especially as a culmination to our week number 2, Joshi.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the higher level expected matchups that we have going into this, right? Just because we have 2 teams, both challenger teams, both up in the top side, both getting most of their wins so far with winning records for both sides. And one of the big things that we've always been asking is, MNS is good, yes, but is MNS good enough to beat up on players like Insanity or Spyrex or Copy? And we saw a little bit of it with Insanity, and so this is their opportunity to showcase that they can also take care of the rest of the field.
Well, and see, for me, this is an even bigger factor going up against FlyQuest Challengers 2, because it's not just Spyrex. You have to deal with Spyrex Yuji.
Yeah.
Hey, Masu, I'm just saw Masu a couple times. Hey, Ping
I'm just talking
Warrior
about the M&S Spyrex matchup.
All right, fine. No, but in all actuality, I think this matchup has a lot going for it, especially with kind of the growth in short amount of time that we've seen from Cloud9 Challengers, and now kind of that holdover that we've seen be pretty successful for FlyQuest as a whole. But I do want to go ahead and bring up the Cloud9 roster, as we do have Tomio in its new home, feeling comfortable, feeling good. Jimenez off his insane performances throughout the first 2 weeks as well. I think this roster is really set up for success, Magical.
I do too, and this is where we look at M&S as being one of those really solid players, and a lot of people had high expectations for him, because if you look back when he was in NLC, he was 12-2 on JDXL. They had a huge winning record when he played, but he didn't play every game. And then you have great talent like Zazel, bot lane. Fake God has been putting up some great numbers as well. Lost, Tomio. This is a very solid roster.
Yeah, and it perfectly fits in with the way that Cloud9 have been building their second league, Challengers League, Academy previously. How they've been building their rosters, you get like 3 veterans, and then you get like 2 more speculative pieces, and MNS is definitely one of these speculative pieces. I even made the whole graphic last week about we can fix him. This is a player who's nobody is ever doubting how good of a player MNS actually is. Maybe Beatdown saying, oh, solo kills against supports don't count, but it's a spot where you have to be ready to say, can we make sure that it can be done both on the Rift and off the Rift? And so far, he's consistently showcasing that it's working.
Exactly that. And he'll be a big spotlight right now for Cloud9 Challengers as a whole. But now, FlyQuest Challengers, we take to the Rift here today again. We got Philip at the top side, Yuji, Spyrex, Masu, and Kitong. The power of friendship, again, is always just so strong with this one. And maybe Masu left out a little bit of that one. But in all actuality, this roster has shown strength to strength across the board. I feel like we've seen carry performances from the likes that we've wanted to, and then also Masu on this bot lane carry, man. It is actually insane what he's been able to do, Joshi.
Yeah. I mean, Masu has definitely been one of these players that is looking to improve and showcase that they are definitely worth bringing up, because you have the trio, Philip, Yuji, Spyrex, and we've said this multiple times, they've wanted to play together for a while and continue doing so in this year, and Masu has to kind of step into that with a substitute support in order to showcase that, yes, we are ready to hang with all these guys, and thus far, FlyQuest Challengers still has been having a lot of success, especially based on the fact that they are finding a lot of winning lanes.
This is one of those teams that just they don't work just one part. It's a whole machine, right? They're all gears in a working machine that tries to make sure these plays can work while they still have insane talent on their side. That's why I wanted to highlight how UG Spyrex are and why I feel like that's a great matchup up against M&S, someone who's more used to playing the 1v1s. He's not really going to get that opportunity against UG Spyrex. They're always playing together. Same with Philip, having the backup of Spyrex, backup of UG. These three players on the top half of the map, there's a reason everyone says, hey, they wanted to play with one another. Not only because, obviously, they wanted to play with each other, they're good friends, but also because they're really good together.
Well, it's something for Spyrex specifically is really interesting to me, and we've seen him talk about it. I've also talked to him ahead of time, right, last week, where he was saying, I love focusing on lane. Sometimes I focus on lane a little bit too much. It's really about trying to see what happens after lane, right? And figuring out where my impact can be outside of just focusing on the 1v1. I think that's going to be an important focus for FlyQuest going to this one against the MNS, who has just been destroying lanes and destroying games. So we'll see. We have draft ready to go for our game number 1 of our last series. So guys, take it away.
Let's get into this. It's been quite a delayed day today, but we are still here for our Challengers League. I'm still full of energy. I'm always going to be that guy who's going to be hyped up about games, especially when you have two teams like this. Cloud9 Challengers up against FlyQuest Challengers, both 5-1. The exact same record, both of them having the 2-0s and just 1-1-1 apiece. And as we look towards the bans, not seeing anything too spicy at the moment.
Nothing too spicy. We'll get back into the champ select a little bit if there's anything that happens here that's interesting. But again, I kind of want to look at what we've been seeing from MNS and Spyrex. And I feel like these two are going to be really pivotal for how this series actually goes. And we have to remember, yet again, that MNS, I believe the statistic I saw was 15 solo kills, double digits, highest in the league in, barely 6 games, right? I guess exactly 6 games. And so now they're looking for an opportunity to showcase that they can do it to some of the main lines, some of the mid laners that have been regarded as quite strong, because while Amenes has this massive number of solo kills, a lot of them have been coming in against substitutes and lower level teams. And now this is going to be one of their first real challenges.
That is a fast lock-in on Elise, and being first pick too. Zeri, Lucian still on the table, Varus as well. Vi, an option they could have gone for. Instead, they decide they want that jungler, and they will sacrifice Masu and Kitong having Lucian Nami.
Yeah, I mean, Lost and Zazel have shown that they can beat up most of the bottom lanes in this league pretty consistently. They are drawing or winning in lanes that they're supposed to be playing to a disadvantage. They are dominating lanes that they're supposed to have an advantage in. The only problem that we've really been seeing from this team is sometimes this bottom lane goes too far forward during the laning phase because they're like, oh, we're winning so hard. Yeah, I'm going to dash forward to Lucian. Or is there, it's like, oh, oops, jungler. Well, okay, fine. And that's the one place where we've been seeing some big issues from Cloud9's bottom lane. But with Tomio coming through with this Elise, that is a lot of early game presence to make sure that that doesn't happen.
My book fell. Anyways. Jax,
wrong page.
Wrong page. But Jack's blind pick here for Philip. Kind of a surprise to see this early on that is taken, not opting for Yuji's jungler. Kind of the standard style we've been seeing where it's the bot lane and jungle in the first rotations.
Yeah, but one of the big things about picking your solo lanes on R3, the third pick on red side, is you can now protect it with 2 bans. And so suddenly you're able to create a situation where you can create favorable matchups, or at least even matchups, almost all the time. And Fake God has been doing okay, right? Philip has definitely been playing in a situation where I feel as though they have been outperforming their counterpart here on Cloud9. And so if you can give them a strong carry champion and give them the tools to win all the lanes, I definitely feel as though FlyQuest are setting themselves up for success, because Elise, has mostly been a counterpick to Vi throughout this season, but it's... what this champion does. It goes for a lot of ganks early on, and then it tries to snowball the game. And if it does, you win. If it doesn't, well, then FlyQuest are perfectly poised to win.
That's why I was a little surprised to see it pick blind. First pick, nonetheless, for Tomio, because UG, he's got a lot of different options he can go for. He doesn't have to go for Vi here, the normal counter pick. UG, a lot of champions he played last year, if we look at like the Wukong, still plenty viable at the moment that he could easily draft for themselves, unless that's going to be the final ban. But instead, it's the Azir pick for Spyrex, something that he played insanely well if you look back to the entirety of the 2022 split.
Yeah, and Spyrex was definitely one of our better Azir players and is already gone. And so I'm most curious, what is it that FakeGod wants to try and play into Phillips? Jax, the two biggest counter picks, or the two most common, have already been taken off the table. And as the Wukong gets picked up here, it's definitely plenty of brawling power towards the top side of the map. And FakeGod, trying to remember what we've been seeing him play mostly this year. I'm sure you have that available. That's the kind of thing that you always have.
I got to look through my notes. So I mean, he's got the Fiora, he's got Jax himself. He's been going for more of these carries as opposed to just
okay.
Yeah, just instead of trying to lose lane, Renekton is another pick that he actually has played. So these are more of the styles that we've been seeing of FakeGod. And FakeGod as a player, like we saw that he was in the LCS for a bit. He had okay success there, but it felt like he had that lack of motivation. That's why he took a break for a little bit, and now he's back in the Challengers League, and he is looking to dominate a player like Philip. Well, I know you're oohing and ahhing over this Yone, and now that I finished my point about FakeGod, I'll let you have it.
Yeah, the big thing here is this is fighting words coming out from Cloud9. They are ready to scrap, and Spyrex going on to be Akali, another classic character for Spyrex. This is Cloud9 Challengers picking up a very powerful top jungle duo, a jungle mid lane duo that will be very strong, especially come level 6 when Jimenez comes online. And just saying that they are going to be able to pilot this better than their opponents because they have this very strong top side and they are trusting Lost and Zeyzal to not fall behind up against Masu and Ketong. Cloud9 Challengers, I mean, we are expecting this team to be one of the strongest in the entire Challengers League, and this is them just kind of strutting their stuff. And with this kind of confidence, you need to be asking this team to win at least 60 to 70% of the time that they actually pull out this kind of composition.
I'm not wrong in saying that both teams pretty much have the same identity, right?
Well, FlyQuest Challengers, they have just such a very powerful bottom lane, but they also have a ton of tools where they don't fall off in the same way that like the Elise will. Renekton will kind of be useful because of the number of melee champions, but it really is a lot of pressure on Cloud9's top side to not fall apart.
Interesting. All right. And FakeGod, with how he's been playing this season so far, it's doubtful we'll see that they've all loaded up onto the Rift. It is our final series of the week here for week 2 in the LCS Challengers League, and it is a hyped up matchup between Cloud9 Challengers, FlyQuest Challengers, both at 5-1.
And running on, not a whole lot of shenaniganeries just quite yet, but they are kind of waiting to see if anybody is
not gonna happen
too far forward, and doesn't look like it. A couple more Cloud9 enjoyers in the chat right now, and then FlyQuest, but the Fly fam, oh, excuse me, can we still call them the Fly fans, the Fly fam, now that there's a team called that?
I feel like we gotta run that past FlyQuest and see.
Yeah, we will.
Or do we just call them the Fly fam fans of Fly fam?
That's it. FFF.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Okay.
I just want to make sure we got the same page there.
Yeah, 121, wasn't it? Okay. But going back into it, we are going to be noticing that Cloud9 is going to be having Tomio starting on the bottom side of the map, and crucially, this will be leashless. You cannot afford as Zeri Lulu to give up that much control over the lane, and look at this level 1, and Menace knows that he will not lose this and forces Spyrex to start E at level 1.
That is tragic for Spyrex. And we talked about how this jungle mid duo, it works so well. Well, we're going to need UG. He's going to have to call in some assistance of UG in this mid lane very soon if Spyrex wants to get out of it.
Yeah. Spyrex is definitely going to have a tough time in this lane if Menace can be that aggressive right off the bat, because Spyrex, or Akali rather, takes so much more time. Oh, okay. We got official word from FlyQuest. The team's name is Fly Space Fam, and the fandom is called Fly Fam with no space.
I still like my name better.
All right, well, we will run it by. It sounds like the social media manager has spoken, but look at this. Lost and Zeyzal already taking control, have level 2.
It's that advantage you can get, and look at how much damage they threw out. Barrier heal were popped by both bot lane of C9, but they get the heal out of Ketong and have forced in what is supposed to be an aggressive bot lane of Lushinami under their turret.
Yeah, interesting usage of both summoner spells from Lost and Zeyzal, and Yuji's coming into the mid lane right away.
This is what I asked. Hey, I said this is the problem that MNS might face off facing up against Spyrex, is that you're not just facing Spyrex, you're facing UG as well. They're burning, waiting for that flash to come out of M&S. Taking a lot of damage as he's waiting this entire time. Cocoon didn't connect. You didn't want to go back in. It's a first blood for Yuji as Tomio might be able to answer back. Chasing down Yuji towards his turret, looking for that final bit. The proc, the burn is not enough.
Let's go, Tomio coming in. I mean, not Tomio. Let's go, Yuji. Yuji coming in with a huge flash away from the Cocoon. That would have 100% been a turnaround with Tomio coming around the corner. But Yuji ready for it as soon as they see the Cocoon flashing out of the way, making sure that they can pick up the kill onto Jimenez. It's not the solo kill, but putting this guy behind is a huge victory for FlyQuest.
Like I said, and I'll say again, it is not just a 1v1 M&S. You have to always worry about Yuji backing up Spyrix in this mid lane. This is what has made them so deadly before, back in summer of 2022, and now here in spring of 2023.
We will continue to see how effectively they are able to leverage that against one of the stronger teams. And Menace still has a decent CS lead, and Tomio coming back for a gank.
Again for it, repel onto minions, dodging away with the Twilight Shroud. Even if Cocoon connected, it's not like they could do much more after that.
It's interesting that the spider goes through because it doesn't have like a thing to lock onto. That's actually an interaction I did not know about. But Tomio kind of looking for their opportunity to get into this game, and they see that Fake God is bringing this wave underneath the turret. If they can convince Philip to stick around and not teleport back.
Oh, they're going to cancel it using the Slice and Dice, call it the Meek. Cocoon connecting onto Philip, taking a lot of damage. Does he have Counter-Strike available? I don't think he does. He doesn't have time, so it's a nice clean dive from Cloud9.
Yeah, I love that from Fake God, forcing Philip to stick around by threatening to attack him right there, do that little bit of damage, and then Philip doesn't have much of a recourse, goes down. So, Cloud9 going to be striking back early on, and remember, we said that this top side of the map needs to take control. They need to be ahead. Otherwise, at least Renekton is going to be way less useful later on in the game than the Jax and the Wukong.
If we look at Spyrix and M&S, you can tell M&S wants that 1v1 solo kill again to continue to pad that stat, but now he's far more cautious. Even with Spyrix being this low, he's like, alright, I don't know where Yuji is. I think he's nearby. I can't really look for this 1v1 skirmish because it never will be. He learns fast. We got to give him that.
That's true, and it is going to be getting a decent CS lead, already a wave and a half in the mid lane, basically by themselves. And so, to take a look at the bottom lane, we also have to note there that Zeri Lulu finding a lead as well. And this is what we were always saying about Lost and Zeyzal. Zeyzal, one of the best supports, despite the fact that they have taken a couple of years not really playing at the competitive level. They were one of the best when they were playing for Solafide. They're continuing to be one of the best supports in the league now that they're in Challengers again.
That's not too surprising, right? Been to Worlds a few times, even when playing with Solafide and not Academy team. It was the talk of the town on that squad. There's just issues outside of his balance that kind of meant so that they had to spend some time looking to coaching, and now bouncing back here on a Challenger squad looked really good, especially with Lost, another player who's played a lot in the LCS, has to reprove themselves after a couple of splits being on some bad teams, yet still being one of the best performers.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting to me, right? Because we compare it to TSM Challengers, where the reception was largely not positive. We have a very similar roster build coming out here, right? A couple of rookies and a couple of veterans, and we're very excited about this squad. We were very excited. I'm very excited about Svenskeren in particular, and Haunter has been playing quite well this far. These are both teams that will have a lot of opportunities to prove themselves.
Remember, Doxa was not a part of the initial plan of TSM. I think bringing in Doxa definitely levied a lot of favor towards TSM, because I agree, I am actually excited, especially seeing how Haunter's been playing, but that's not the point. We're not on that conversation. We're here on FlyQuest, not FlyFamous. Now FlyQuest have to use a heal just to get away from Lost and Zeyzal, a matchup they should not be winning in any right. Yet here they are again, crushing it.
Yeah, they're the ones going aggressive in this, and Masu with the Polymorph just has to back up, doesn't have any of the damage, none of the initial first strike burst that they were looking for is able to come to fruition, and that's a pretty big win. But here's Yuji.
Varix took a bad trade there. M&S, he realizes that that was probably setting up a potential gank from Yuji, and he was right in his intuitions. Yuji will go back to the drawing board. It's level 6 tick for Lost. They could probably dive this if they really wanted to, but they're not going to go that aggressive. You talked about that, and this is something they have tempered.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is not a lane they're supposed to be able to play for advantage, and so Lost and Zeyzal finding advantages up against Kitong and Masu is a big opportunity.
Spyrex. Cocoon from Tomio. I think he was trying to get him when he was going out of vision, but has to flash away because he just repelled right into a bad fight, getting a lot of damage onto M&S. But that's going to be the Fates Unsealed, getting Yuji super low. Zeyzal roaming up, the flash away, so both the duo of FlyQuest will survive.
A flash trade coming through, that's definitely an opportunity to try and prey on Zeyzal later, but right now we look at the Rift Herald where all the attention is in the top lane, where Philip and FakeGod continue to go head-to-head.
They continue to try to battle it out. Respect over to Philip, having died to that gank earlier on. Still remaining very even with FakeGod, but unfortunately, because of that trade mid lane with Zeyzal rotating up, it meant that now that Philip has recalled, and not even wanting to stay in a bad lane where he knows that there is the bot lane and jungler on the top half of the map, he has to back off, forfeiting Rift Herald control to Cloud9.
So Cloud9, they get the first 2 neutral objectives. They get the early dragon based off of all the recalls. Now with the play in mid lane, they also pick up the Rift Herald. They have a small goal lead across the entire map. And so, now the question does become, how can FlyQuest make sure that this lead does not balloon? Cloud9 should still be stronger coming up for the next dragon. And starting to stack those.
I'm glad you brought that up, actually. Because I was going to ask you how you think Cloud9 have done thus far with trying to dominate on the top half of the map, if they've even done enough to get the lead that you were talking about in Champ Select.
Cloud9 are like tentatively ahead, right? It's just like, if you looked at it and you had to play this out like 100 times, like Cloud9 should be winning, you know, I'd say like 55 to 60 of those, which is lower than you might have hoped for in the beginning. I think it comes back to Jimenez, right? He's a player who is so confident in their ability to actually lane, but we saw this even up against, I think it was Robbie Bob, was so willing to go for these fights, just like this one, that they kind of get themselves in trouble every now and again when the jungles are around.
Yuji still hovering around that mid lane, making sure M&S can't get out of control. Even seeing that the CS is getting better for Spyrex, slowly but surely, not falling too far behind M&S. But really now, this bot lane. We've talked about it before. Lost and Zeyzal have so much control, and then Tomio just annihilates Kitong. And never mind, I was about to say, do we expect Yuji to show up into the bot lane? Well, he does, but it's way too late.
It's too late, yeah. Kitong has no flash, Kitong has no cleanse. Now they drop the Rift Herald. That's going to be at least 3 plates coming through. And Yuji, oh, that's the decoy.
Yep, that's just the decoy. Calling even just to clear out some of the minions to make sure the turret doesn't fully die. But look at that. As Masu dives in, he just takes so much damage from Lost that it makes it so difficult for them to do anything in this bot lane, where our mid lane matchup that we were excited, you know, M&S versus Yuji Spyrex, it has had a little bit going for it, but it's mostly been that Lost and Zeyzal have so much control in the bot lane that it is getting out of control. Screw the top lane. Cloud9 are playing through bot.
Tomio coming down, again, looking so good, but now we got to set up for this upcoming dragon. Tomio trying to take more control of their own side of the map.
At least Yuji is able to steal away that.
Oh, he gets it! What?
Wow, what?
That hits!
No!
There's no way that hit. That's wild. If I'm Spyrex, I demand another look at that. That was the absolute max range. That's all it is. The absolute max range from Menace, knowing perfectly the range of the ultimate to pick up Spyrex and killing him at the perfect time so that they have control of this upcoming dragon.
That's Tilter. That's Tilter for sure.
Chalk it up. What is that? 16 solo kills? 15 was the last number that I heard.
Yeah, let's just go with 16. Why not? Because that's a lot. It's a lot of damage from M&S, and now Spyrex having TP back into the mid lane. At least even with that solo kill picked up, there isn't much that Cloud9 are gaining on the map, because even bot lane, Lost took a bad trade there with the bubble connecting from Kitong. I expected to see the immediate pull onto that dragon out of FlyQuest. They're still a little timid. They don't want to fight against Tomio with how much burst damage he can provide, plus M&S already getting back into lane.
Yeah. FakeGod just making sure that Philip sticks around with no mana, getting an extra play, a little bit of extra damage onto the structure. And man, Philip is... It was going okay earlier, but ever since the dive, Philip has been struggling a little bit. And look at this. Who cares about the dragon? We can go for the kills and more plates in top lane.
I feel like Philip's just like, I'm fine. And then he sees Elise and he's like, oh.
Oh. Yeah, it's a dive angle, I fear. And FakeGod gets another wave. Philip has a teleport, but what is he going to teleport back to? It's potentially just another dive if he sticks around and teleports back. Another couple of plates going over to Cloud9, and now we were unsure. We were unsure if Cloud9 had built up enough of a lead. Now the answer is definitely yes.
Bot lane got their own leads. They were not only just able to hold their own, but look at this. They found Matsu forcing his flash. If you're flashing away from Zeria's Lucian level 8, you know things are completely topsy-turvy.
Yeah, that's not how it's supposed to be going. Also, using heal as an offensive summoner. Menace?
Nice sidestep from Spyrex. But he's got a level lead, so he's got to be careful. Spyrex will play it safe, getting back towards his turret, not wanting to risk another Fates Unsealed that connects at max range.
Very tough position to be in. Is Cloud9 going to be toppling this turret here fairly soon? There's no help coming down. Masu is all alone.
Run. Run, Masu, please. Get out of there. Keep yourself alive, because that turret's going to fall soon if you're not careful. Astobia was threatening, but instead I think they want to get their second dragon of the game.
Oh, okay. Apparently it's 17. 15 was the last number I heard, but we were up to 17 solo kills here for Menace, which I believe is double. Close to double. Second highest number across the entire league as another dragon goes through. Cloud9 with total control over the map, and I'm trying to think of like how FlyQuest is supposed to bounce back for game 2, because it's not over, but it's very tough. As
I don't even want to talk about this.
oh, he's alive.
Oh,
Red
he's
buff.
alive. Red, no, not enough. Okay, Zapyrex. Maybe I will talk about this. No, never mind. He's Evanescence wants this. Thankfully, Spyrex will survive, but it still effectively does the same thing, which is get Spyrex out of lane, so Evanescence can continue his lead here in mid lane. Dang. Well, this game went from kind of close to not that close to it's 15 minutes into the game, and Cloud9 have nearly a 5,000 gold lead.
Yeah, they got the entire bottom lane turret. The top lane turret is well below half HP. They're going to be picking up another Rift Herald. They're getting everything. The only mistake that Cloud9 have really made this game so far was Menace being too greedy into Eugene. Now looking for Ketong. Is he dead?
He almost! He's getting so close on these ones. Evanescence, and talk about tilters. Twice in a row, he gets people under 100 and they live.
That's 100% the T-Ball. Barely missing out on it. You know that he's like, man, just barely. And Beatdown would also be a little bit mad at that. We had a conversation before today. He was like, I don't know if I count all of Menace's solo kills. Yeah, you know, he was getting them on the support, but he was already 5-0. It's like, that doesn't change what a solo kill is, my dude. It still counts. You do all the damage. You have no assists. And Menace doesn't
you know what I would
care.
say?
What?
Kill's a kill.
Is a solo kill a solo kill?
Solo kill, solo kill.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Revolutionary, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm glad that we have more of the tautological reasoning coming out from Mad Magical.
Leave it to me.
Yeah.
I will always
Leave
have
it to
that.
Beaver.
No, I'm not. I'm magical.
You can still be a beaver, but as we look at the rest of the game again.
I don't think I don't have like iron teeth.
We'll figure that out later. For now, though, I'm trying to look at where FlyQuest can kind of come back in the game, right? We looked at the... I kind of want to call them...
Wait. Can't they?
Unlikely. In the terms that we were talking about earlier, the number of fights that they are behind is 3 to 4, I'd say, where they need to
It's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's not completely ridiculous, but the big thing right now is that Lost can do this.
Right. Polymorph, they threaten... They put down Rift Herald, another neutral objective. Every single one has been taken by Cloud9 Challengers this game. W, you got those good ganks early on. Now he's like, I just clear everything. Let my solo laners, let my carries do this. Unless Pirates can get this kill in the backline. On it to Lost, who's in a bad position. But how much can he survive? And in fact, everything. They turn the fight in Cloud9. Come out victorious, marching more minions down mid.
Oh, just a little bit desynced there. Just needed a little bit more to take down the AD carry. He gets away again. No deaths left on Lost as another turret falls. Cloud9 taking more control of the map. And man, Lost and Zeyzal are looking so good as well. The way that they've been able to come through, definitely showcasing that they have what it takes to beat up on a lot of these lanes. But we said this was the problem. Lost can walk up and just kind of hit whoever he wants. And here, with all the damage coming through, just barely not enough damage coming out of Spyrax does mean that Cloud9 lose absolutely no one in this fight, and Menace almost gets a solo kill, but there were assists on that one.
Exactly. That's why their assists. It's a good fight from Cloud9 challengers, firmly in control. And I don't like, the game's over. Let's look at the next game, blah, blah, blah. But with how we kind of set up that there were similar identities playing around top half for both teams, if you don't get too far behind in FlyQuest, you can possibly make sure you will be able to bully around both a Renekton and a Elise with a lot of overwhelming power from Jax and Wukong. That didn't happen, and it's not looking like it's going to happen anytime soon.
No. And so, generally, it's a baton pass, right, that you look at from Cloud9. Right. Fake God and Tomio, they're running the first half of the relay, and they're like, Lost! Take it from me! Finish out the race! But Lost is already like, wait, he's just running beside them the entire time. He's not doing the first half of the race alone. He's going to be doing both the first and the second half. And so,
no, he's it's the camera guy. The camera guy running alongside them the whole time.
Ah, true.
Keeping up with them, and everyone's just like, oh, how is he still there? And just like, yeah, I've never not been here.
So here, as we start looking towards the next dragon, like, FlyQuest can't really get into the fight, but they kind of have to try because the game doesn't get better. They just have to throw a Hail Mary, but with no way into the fight. And look where Masu is. They cannot participate at all. And I think they're gonna try.
What else do you gotta lose? The game's already looking lost. So unless you find this play with the dominance pop out of Fake God, there is no hope. They've lost the dragon, and they didn't even fight over. Instead, they're looking for the pick on Fake God, getting a lot of damage, but he's still alive, flashing back towards the team. And Fate unsealed onto two people, denying the fight, continuing from FlyQuest challengers, who still so desperately want to make this work. They need it to work, but it can't work when you're this far behind this early into the game.
And then it's still going forward. It's not over. Looking for Spyrax.
Spyrax dodging away, but the Polymorph flashing out of danger. It will only be the one death, but it could have very well just been everyone with how the game state's going to be after that.
Yeah, and I don't really fault FlyQuest for this at this point, right? Because they are so far behind, but every single person is looking for their own opportunities instead of looking for it together, right? You saw Philip leaping into the bush on one side, you saw Spyrax and Yuji on the other side, and because they're not coordinated, there was opportunities, potentially if they had all been together, but you have to just look for everything. Every single player on the team should be in the mindset, I need to carry this game, I need to do something. And unfortunately, they just didn't happen to sync up at this point. So Cloud9, I'm ready to kind of chalk this one up and say we're going to be looking at the next one. And so, looking at it, this was going to be one of the recipes for success I was expecting from FlyQuest, right? You give Masu and Kitong a winning bottom lane in order to at least go even against Lost and Zeyzal, and then you look to fight on the top half of the map with giving Spyrax something very comfortable like the Azir or the Akali, and it wasn't enough this game. You even gave over the first kill in the mid lane, and Menace was put behind, and so maybe you have to commit even harder to that. Maybe if we start giving Spyrax something like a Sylas that not only scales well, but also starts a bit stronger. But that's the first thing that comes to mind about how they can balloon this game potentially in their favor. Or next game.
Yeah, I was about to say next game.
Yeah, next game, not this one. You can't switch characters mid-game, unfortunately.
No. That's a different game. And in this game, FlyQuest, it's all about learning from here. Learning the patterns, the plays that Cloud9 could look for so possibly you can punish next time. As well as whenever game's over like this, where it just seems not undaunting. It's I can't even think of the word. It's just a really difficult task for them to think how they could win this game. So it's about how do you win the next game? How do you even this up? Bring this series to one apiece. Yeah. I'm with you on focusing on that bot lane. But I feel like they also have to do a little bit more against M&S because we saw him. They put that attention onto him. And look at him now. Fighting against Felt underneath the turret. The tidal wave will come out, forcing the flash, but he has that shield mode to say fine. As Tomio does look caught out initially, but Spyrax, he's on the other hunt. He wants M&S. They all want M&S. They're saying, no more. We're tired of your tyranny, M&S. The shutdown for Spyrax.
Eat the rich. Eat the rich. He goes forward. He thinks he can do it, and there's so many people coming through. They get the shutdown.
But
still 6,000 people behind.
Yeah, like, but all right, does that count as the 1 of 4?
No, not really.
I didn't think so.
No, because I mean, you don't have enough tempo on the map, right? I don't even think they're going to be able to pick up this top lane turret, which could have been the prize for getting that kill. And Cloud9 are still going to have total control over the upcoming dragon because it doesn't spawn for another 90 seconds. And Cloud9, whoa, that is bold coming out from them. They put down this control ward.
Oh, they can get away with it. Everyone's back. No one's there. They all tried to reset.
And they had this control ward there, and they saw that there was never a ward put down by FlyQuest on this Baron, and it's bold, but it works out. This is the kind of thing we've been praising AoE for. They just say, hey, nothing is going to stop us from doing this. Let's go do it. And now FlyQuest, that's definitely a... guys, where are they? Are they doing Baron? You think, no, they're all recalling. Oh, and
well,
now we said...
It's too early into the game. They can't do it that fast.
Oops. Yeah, MNS is dead. There's no way. And it's like, oh, well, that's a problem because now all the waves that Cloud9 want to set up before this dragon to be pushing away towards the other side of the map so that FlyQuest have to deal with both losing minions and coming to fight. Cloud9 can do that incredibly easily. They're already taking vision control here, and anybody who tries to recall at this point is just going to be late to the fight.
All right, you know what? I've decided I'm going to actually root for for FlyQuest in this game. FlyQuest. The FlyFam fans that got to... and the fan of FlyFam. We'll look at how this game is going to unfold. And it is about killing Lost, or actually, no. Let's kill Zeyzal first. No wild growth. Get rid of him. Can you pick him? Yes, get him. But you have to make sure you can separate this team, because when Cloud9's all together, that's when things are impossible, and you're looking to fight a team that is well ahead of you. It's about picks at this point. You don't actually want a full-on 5v5 fight, even if it's about the Infernal Soul.
You just have to be so careful, right? Nobody's actually hitting the dragon just quite yet. They're just looking for these potential picks, and it's actually gotten slightly better, I think, for FlyQuest, as now they look for an opportunity.
M&S onto the back line. Masu trying to get away. He's doing a lot to create space, but M&S, he's back in the fight as Masu somehow barely lived.
That's lost.
Pyrex, the first casualty. Lost on the outside. He's untouched. There's nobody doing it. He killed him with the arrow from Rudon's Hurricane, so they can cleanly wipe the floor, get out the Windex, spit and elbow grease. That's a clean ace.
That's a Godex moment right there. You die to the Runan's Hurricane over the wall. He's not even trying to hit you, and you take him down. Lost, able to pick that one up, but Tomio is the one who gets the double kill. They get the Infernal Soul. They get the 5 for 0. They're going to crack open the base, and that should be at least 2 inhibitors potentially going down here, setting up so much space, but instead they're going to be backing away with only the bottom lane turret.
I mean, only is...
It's a nice way. It's a nice way of saying this game is doomed.
Yeah. There's an Infernal Soul for Cloud9 Challengers. They got the Baron still. 5-0 Elise. I mean, it sucks. There's so many different narrative points I wanted to bring up in this game, but never got a chance to because everyone on Cloud9 has performed so well that it's not like I can't just pick one of them. Yeah. They're all doing so good.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about this Cloud9 roster is we've been seeing that the developmental pieces, right? Tomio is somebody that was kind of struggling on Evil Genius's Academy, but now they have such a strong leadership element that nobody's really worried about them. And they can just play this entire fight for free because so much is being used on the front line. And now MNS, oh, hey, 18!
Someone ping beat down.
Kill support, does it count? Yes, it does. That's 18.
Kill's a kill. Solo kill is a solo kill. And 13 kills are on the side of Cloud9 Challengers, but no longer the Baron. Really? Do they need it?
Nah.
Yeah, look at this. What can Masu do? Yuji's like, okay, we can look for a fight, and then get deleted nearly. That's how much damage they have. Lost is in the middle of everybody. Finally, he's executed by Spark. This could be the opportunity for FlyQuest to win unless M&S can clean up with Masu on the run. Same with Sparks, the stun from Fake God. And there is no hope. They got the raid boss, but there's 3 more on C9 Challengers. Fake God hunting down Masu just to make sure they can open up the base while M&S fights with a 4-level lead over UG, a 6-level lead over Keetog. There is nothing they can do against him. Oh, hi, Masu.
Hi, Masu. Bye, Masu. Yeah, that's what they needed to do, right?
God should have kept him as a pet.
Well, you can't if they just choose to do that, but This is absolute destruction. They committed everything in order to try and kill Lost. And to their credit, they did get him. They actually got the kill onto Lost and Zeyzal. Their KDA is ruined for the game, unfortunately. But 2 inhibitors already going down. This is the opportunity for Cloud9 to go towards the Baron and clean it up. And again, as we start looking towards the next game, this was the formula
Hey, Josh.
for success for FlyQuest. What's up?
Interrupting you. Look at Tomio's inventory.
Yeah.
Do you see what I see?
The undrinking elixir?
You know you're far ahead when at 28 minutes you're buying an elixir and just waiting for one more fight because there's nothing FlyQuest can do.
Yeah.
They don't even need the Baron. That's like they don't need the Baron. Three man ult and Lost can chase them all low into the base. Continue to corral every member of FlyQuest. They don't need the kills because they have the base. They've got the damage. The final inhibitor falls.
FlyQuest, gotta try and find something on Fake God.
Idle Wade. They have Fake God, or do they? He slices and dices his way out of there. They got M&S, which is nice, but again, how many raid bosses are on the side of Cloud9 Challengers? Too many to deal with. Double kill for Lost. Looking for the snipe as Monster dives back in, trying to get the kill on Lost, but he's way too fed.
A triple kill going over to Lost. They're going to end the game. They're going to lead the series 1-0. That would be an impressive penta.
Oh, he's not going to get it. I was hoping that they would try, but they can't really get it, like you said. Instead, they'll take their victory. They'll take the game, even if, like you mentioned, the KDA is in tatters for Zeyzal, who gives a lick when you take a beating like that as FlyQuest Cloud9 victorious.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about what FlyQuest Challengers does better, and it's really going to come down to whether or not they can find even more off of the UG Spyrax jungle duo that we were really excited about coming into this game. It's not just Spyrax they have to play against, it's also UG. They got 1 kill, they put Menace into a situation where they had to teleport back, and it was not enough. You need to blow open the game, and for a pair of relatively young players compared to the incredibly experienced Cloud9 Challengers, that's going to be a very tall task, but you have to go back and run it back. Say, we're just going to do it better this time.
Well, we'll see if that's going to be the case, because we're going to toss it to a break, and when we come back, we'll bring back Mazel for another, actually the final, halftime show of Week 2, so make sure you stay tuned.